Hello and welcome to this live, as I record it, online workshop. Now, today we're going to be talking about how to get better quality clients more consistently. And one of the greatest stumbling blocks when it comes to client acquisition is indeed your offer. And core to your offer is often your pricing model. So I thought it might be fun to kick things off with a little bit of a lesson on pricing models and why it could well be that your pricing model is killing you. Because if you want to sign better quality clients faster and more consistently, it helps if you have a clear and compelling offer, and that's going to be heavily influenced by your model. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create two axes here. And at the top, we've got high value, and then we've got low value. And I'm talking about the type of work that you do. Some work is high value, building rocket ships to Mars. Something else might be low value, a Wix website. Cool. It also comes down to the value that you are delivering to your customers and clients. On this side, we have high risk, and on this side, we have low risk. And I'm not going to make any value judgments because there are all sorts of different pricing models, and there are all sorts of very successful businesses running with each of these pricing models. But it is important that you have a clear understanding of what pricing model you are using and what pricing model is most likely to work best for you. I'm just going to shrink down some of this text here so I can give myself some space. And yes, indeed, I do have handwriting that's possibly worse than a surgeon's. All right, so in the bottom left, if it's high risk and low value, the best pricing model for you is going to be bill by the hour. And the reason why this is really important if you're down in this corner, if it's a high risk project, but it's not particularly low value, is that you want to share the risk with the person that you're working with. So, if it's high risk, you don't really know how things are going to play out. You don't really know how quickly things are going to take, how easy or difficult things are going to be. And you don't want to be caught offering, for example, a fixed fee or a package and have that project go over time, over budget, and you end up wearing the cost. Which means that if you're down in this particular corner and you're working with lots of clients and it's high risk, but low value, you can just continue to bill by the hour and continue to bill by the hour forever. And there are some projects which are just like that. And that's the way it is. Share the risk with the client. Now, above it, if it's high risk and high value, and I gave the example of building rocket ships for Mars, if that's the case, the best model for you is something that my good mate, Marcel Pepitas, never can say his name right, abstracted T&M. Now I've got to give a shout out to, I'm going to call him Marcel from Paraquito. His last name is Petitas. I can never really quite say it right, and I haven't really used it very often. But Marcel from Paraquito introduced me to a lot of these concepts, and he's a genius. Check him out sometime. Anyway, if you're in this particular area, the best pricing model for you is abstracted time and materials. So an example for abstracted time and materials is that you might say, we're going to focus on 3 10K sprints. And you're going to get access to my team, and you're going to get access to my resources, time and materials. And I'm going to charge you for 3 10K sprints. So it's really billing by the hour, but it's bundled up in a way which sounds a little bit more attractive to the client. Does that make sense? So you might say it's a 10K sprint and there's going to be 3 10K sprints. But the reality is that if you're doing something that's high risk and high value, people more often than not are going to come back at the end of it and go, oh, I want some more. Can I get some more value? Can you add another sprint? Can you add another element? And if you're billing by the hour, people start to get a little bit frustrated with you. I'm not quite sure that this is going to work out for me over the longer term. Really, most people don't like getting billed by the hour. It's so uncertain. But if it's abstracted time and value, where you can say, oh yeah, it's a $10,000 sprint, you can put a margin in that and work through that particular process. Now, what if it's low value and low risk at the same time? Well, if it's low value and low risk, what you do, the best model is flat fees. And that is like someone comes in and says, oh, I just need a website, please. I don't need a great website. Can you just give me a website? And the best model for you is just a flat fee. So you can say, oh yeah, it's a $500 website. Or it's a $5,000 website, whatever it's going to be, low value, low risk, flat fees. And you'll know you're in this space when you meet with a potential client and they start haggling with you. So you say, I want to offer you this. And they go, I can get that same thing elsewhere. Because the reality is we don't, and I'm just going to put this out there, I don't believe that any of us should be operating in the low value space. It's really, really difficult to grow a business and charge premium rates if you're in the low value space. I don't mind high risk so much, but however, high risk with high value is obviously going to be a whole lot better. Top right-hand corner is where your products, where your pricing model is value-based. So value-based is you're delivering high value and you've got to a point in the evolution of your business where you have complete target audience clarity, which means that as you work with every new client, the projects become more and more the same every time. You're delivering high value, but as you get more and more familiar with your clients, because you have target audience clarity, you begin to discover that each of these people that you're working with all pretty much want the same thing. And if they all want the same thing, that makes it really low risk for you. So you can turn around and say, all right, well, this is going to be this much value. You're thinking this is this low risk for me. And at that point, you introduce the idea of a package. So a package is kind of similar to abstracted time and management, but the difference between high value, high risk, abstracted time and management is that it is high risk, it is high value, and it's kind of difficult to win that work. But however, if you have a clear package that responds to the headaches, the obstacles, the aspirations and desires of your target audience, life becomes so much easier. So why did I bring this all up now, right at the beginning? Why did I bring this all up now? Well, I brought it up, as I said a little bit earlier, I want to help you win better quality clients faster and do it consistently. And if you are living in the bottom left, this is the sad news about the bottom left. If you are living in the bottom left down here, whoops, that's not the color I wanted to use, or the style I wanted to use. You can get really caught up servicing a small amount of clients forever and ever and ever and ever that are low value. And the business doesn't really get to scale because your margins are going to be so very, very slim. As I said, you could be in the top left, and this is a perfectly cool, fine place to be, charging big money, charging big rates, but winning high value work that's high risk can often take months and months and months and months, sometimes even years. The flat fee space is not a place to be in either. However, you don't get great margins. It really is a volume-based model. The place where I would like to see you playing is up here, where you can deliver high value by offering a consistent package where your customers and clients every time go, I get it, I understand it, that's what I want. Cool? So here's what I want from you. I just want to hear from you right now. Play along to the best of your abilities. I want to hear where you are right now in your business or where you think you are right now. Are you in 1, 2, 3, or 4? Which quadrant do you think best reflects your pricing model right now? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Play along to the best of your abilities. The more you get involved, the more you will get from this experience. Yes, I'm talking to you, Bridget and Callie and Glenn and Helen, just calling out some random names here. Win, that's an interesting name. Will, Tristan, Louis, Katrina. It's interesting. Katrina says 4. Helen says 2. Bridget says 3. Tristan says 4 with an occasional 2. All right, now that you've said that, as I said, I'm not going to make any value-based judgments on any of these things. Where would you like to be? And that's a choice. You can write it down, say it out loud, write it down on a piece of paper. At this point in the conversation, I am just planting ideas. All right, cool. Was that fun? Was that fun? Let's introduce the bigger picture. So on the screen right now, you can see the holy grail of B2B sales and marketing. This is a VIP funnel, a funnel for very interested prospects. And if you can book more meetings with very interested prospects, your business is going to be a lot stronger. So the B2B space, when we're talking about selling complex products or services, particularly big ticket, you're going to need to attract an opportunity. Then you're going to need to pre-qualify that lead. Then you're going to need to book an appointment. Then you're going to need to elevate anticipation before that meeting so that when they turn up, they're all fired up. Then you're going to need to host that meeting, put on a bit of a show, maybe deliver some value. And if it goes really well, you might close it on the call. More likely, you're going to get a tentative yes, and there is going to be a little bit of follow-up. And the bigger the price, the more follow-up is there will be. And then you close. Yay! And is that the point where your sales and marketing ends? Is that the point where the funnel ends? No, of course not. Because after that, you need to onboard the client, because that's when sales and marketing truly ends. When you can get your newest, latest, greatest client to a place that we call first win, all that buyer's remorse and post-purchase dissonance tends to evaporate. And then you've really won the client. Until that point, they're always kind of on the fence. Progressively increasing in trust as they go down the funnel, but it's only when you get them to first win that they truly will trust you. So this here is clearly a funnel. You know, when I draw it on the screen, you can see it as a funnel. And we have TOFU, MOFU, BOFU. Top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And we're going to be talking about all 3 today, because if you want to win better quality, big ticket clients consistency, you are going to need to be able to get leads at the top of the funnel. You're going to need to be able to book meetings in the middle of the funnel, and you're going to need to be able to close those clients at the bottom of the funnel. All right, cool. So we've talked about pricing structures. We've talked about the big picture. Let's get a little bit more granular. What I've got on the screen right now is a goal setting exercise. You may have done this with me recently. I did this on a webinar fairly recently. If you were on that webinar, please play along, do it again. Every time you play these games, the more clarity in your head that you are likely to get. And when you take action, you create momentum. Momentum creates momentum, and then you get outcomes. So what I'd like to hear from you guys and gals is, we started off talking about pricing models, and I introduced the idea of an easier to sell package. What I want to hear from you is, how many clients do you think that you need in any given month to just keep the lights on, to stay in the business, to stay happy, to stay busy perhaps? What is the minimum number of clients that you need in your business? That's what I want to hear from you right now. In any given month, how many new clients do you need to sign? So Helen has said 6. That's awesome. Well done, Helen. Helen gets a virtual round of applause and a special gift, which I don't even know what that is yet, a special prize for being so proactive, because twice she has been the first person to respond. Woohoo! Go, Helen. Helen, you're leaving your comments for hosts and panelists. Next time, if you want, Helen, leave the comment for everyone, and then everyone can see it. You too, Bridget. So what is the minimum number of clients that you are going to need? All right, cool. If that's the case, what is the ideal number of clients that you are going to want in any given month? What is the ideal number of clients you're going to want in any given month? All right. So let's have a look here. Helen's figured out how to make the message appear for everyone. So that's great. She said 6 over here, and then she said 20 over there, right? So there's the bare minimum to keep the lights on, to keep things running well. Then there is the want, which is the desire that you want, where things are going well, you've got room to grow, you've got cash left over, everything's looking cool and awesome. When everything is awesome, like in the Lego movie. And Tristan has said, need 10, want 20. Cool. Guys and gals, play along. The more you play along, the more value you are going to get. Now, I'm going to make this really, really simple. And I am going to write 4 and 8. There we go. So I'm going to keep it down to 1 per week, which would be 4 per month. And 8 would be double that, which is not a bad way to go. Easier to double something than grow it exponentially. All right, here's my next question for you. If your business model requires a meeting, a conversation, a sales call, or a Zoom call, what is your close rate on those meetings? So if you meet with 2 people, do you close 1? If you meet with 4 people, do you close 1? What is your close rate? Is it 1 in 2, 1 in 4, 1 in 3, 1 in 8, 1 in 5? I hope it's not 1 in 16. That would be quite miserable if you have to have 16 sales conversations and only sign 1. I want you to give me a number. So Helen said 1 in 8. Now I know what price to give Helen. Helen needs some extra training around closing because 1 in 8 is quite high. Who else wants to have a go? So Helen, well done for playing along. You just unlocked a prize. I'm going to get you access to some training that we normally only provide our private clients, which is a 3 video set called the One Call Close Formula. And I think that you're going to love it. Everybody else that's not playing along, please do play along. Use the chat tool. There are benefits to doing this. Tristan says 1 in 2. Now, I'm glad that you said, Tristan, 1 in 2. I wanted someone to say 1 in 2. And the reason why is because it's very rare and unusual that any of us, even my business partner, John Inglesos, who's one of the best sales professionals that I know, he trains up people to be amazing sales professionals. It's very rare to close 1 in 2 consistently, unless the only leads that you are getting are referrals. Because here's the thing, as entrepreneurs and business owners, we're gamblers, and gamblers only remember the wins. But however, if you're tracking and measuring the data, I might say, well, what about that person? And you said, oh, well, they had to go on holiday. Or what about that person? Oh, well, their business went broke. Or what about that person? Well, their spouse wasn't into it, right? They are still deals that didn't close. And Tristan said, we pretty much only work on referrals and repeat customers. So it's why it says it's 1 in 2. If you track the data, you still might find it's 1 in 3 or 1 in 4. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to settle here. Because if you do want to scale, if you do, for example, want to go from 4 to 8, or did Tristan, you give me some numbers before, needs 10, wants 20, you're going to have to stop relying only on referrals and repeat customers, and your conversion rate is going to fall. So let's make it 4. Every business is going to be different. Now, if I put a little multiplication sign here, on the far right, what we're going to have, once I do a little bit of napkin maths here, is something called your North Star metrics. And your North Star metrics are the minimum number of sales meetings, conversations with very interested prospects that you are going to need in any given month to hit your base benchmark or hit your growth milestones. Because if you only close 1 in 4, if you're closing 1 in 4 meetings and you need 4 meetings, 4 times 4 equals 16. You have 16 meetings, your close rate is 1 in 4, you close 4, you hit your goal. If it's 8, the number is going to be 32. Did you do this with me? Did you play along? I hope that you played along, because I don't know if you just realized this, but you could hire a big ticket consultant, a management consultant, to come into your business, sit down with you maybe for a day, maybe for 2 days, work through your data, work through your sales history, pull together a plan. And at the end of the day, they will turn around and say, well, it's clear to me that if you can book 16 meetings in any given month, you will hit your goal. So our focus therefore needs to be, how many meetings do you need to book? Nah. All right. Not only is this extremely valuable for you and your business as you go through this particular process, but I also have a participation bonus. And what this simply means, by participating today, I'm going to give you my 24 lead generation tactics specifically for B2B. Indeed, I have more than one participation bonus to give you today. There are some times, like Helen, where I see you stepping up, I will reward you. But right now, to get my 24 lead generation tactics specifically for B2B, all you need to do is leave a comment. That's all you need to do. Leave a comment. Say, I am here. I am in attendance. Yes, I'm talking about you, Desiree. I'm talking about you, Kamlesh Kumar, right? I'm talking about you, Lenny. I'm talking about all those people that have not yet left a comment. If you leave a comment, you will get it. Hey, Bridget, please do try to leave your comments for everyone rather than hosts and panelists. There's a drop down, and that way everyone else will be able to see them. But I also think that later when we go back through the materials, we can have a look at your comments. Hey, Louis and Lenny, woohoo, excellent. This is really, really cool. The more that you put in, the more you'll get out from this experience today. So we talked about tofu, MOFU, BOFU. Tofu, top of the funnel, I'm going to come back to. MOFU is booking the appointment. We've got some good metrics here, and we're going to go a little bit deeper. What about BOFU? All right, so we know we need leads. We need leads so that we can book meetings. We can book meetings so we can close clients. What is the hardest part about the BOFU stage? The bottom of the funnel. We sometimes call this the pointy end of the deal. I want to hear from you. What is the hardest thing about the BOFU stage? The pointy end of the deal. What do you find most difficult about this whole sales process? If you're still catching up with my slightly unusual terminology, tofu, MOFU, BOFU, what is it about this big process, this big picture thing called sales and marketing in the B2B space? What's the hardest bit? What's that little piece that does your head in? Now, we know, for example, that you're going to need a certain number of meetings in any given month. We know that you have to get leads to get those meetings. We know that you're going to have to close, and there are all sorts of factors which are going to influence and define whether or not you're able to quickly close. And one of those things is your pricing structure. Let's have a look at your answers here, particularly if you have not said anything yet. If you haven't said anything yet, you're not going to get any of my prizes or gifts. So if you haven't said anything yet, please do so. All right. Helen says getting them to commit. Once again, Helen, first out the gate. If anyone can beat Helen, next time I ask a question like this, I'm going to give you a gift, an extra special surprise. Helen says getting them to commit. Yep, getting the commitment. Bridget says getting cold leads. By the way, Bridget, all leads start cold. Getting them to part with the money, getting new prospects to see the value before we deliver the results. Yeah, so true. Our clients that are not in need of our products. Yeah, you find yourself speaking to someone who's the wrong fit. Finding those leads in the first place, says Lenny. This is great. So we've worked with a lot of people, thousands of people directly. We've supported tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions indirectly over the last 10 years that we've been focused on training, or 20 years since we began supporting businesses. And these are the three biggest challenges that we come across again and again and again when we're talking about the BOFU stage. On the screen right now, you can see this guy. Have you ever seen the video with this guy? This guy talks about I think it must be a fictional product called the Turbo Encapulator. And he talks about this in Turbo Encapulator, and I've got the script on the screen. He says, now basically the only new principle involved is that instead of power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it is produced by the modal interaction of magnetoreluctance and capacitive duractance. The original machine had a base plate of prefabulated ammulites mounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the top spurving bearings were in direct line with the panometric fan. The latter consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic muzzle veins so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side fumbling was effectively prevented. Now, in this funny video, this guy talks about his product, the turbo encapulator. Now, I saw it said, Tristan said, getting the prospects to see the value before we deliver the results. A lot of the time, if they're struggling to see the value, we're living somewhere over here, and it does make the sales process a little bit harder, not impossible. Today, I'd like to make things a little bit easier for you. We want them to go, I get it. That makes so much sense for me. The second biggest challenge at the bottom of the funnel, which is what BOFU stands for. TOFU is the top of the funnel. MOFU is the middle of the funnel. BOFU is the bottom of the funnel. Is getting stuck, not only just doing the groundwork, doing the chasing, doing the follow-up, doing the prospecting. Hey, raise your hand if you love prospecting. It's at this point that someone who wanted to win a prize is going to say, I love it. But the reality is usually if I say, hey, who loves prospecting? No one says I love prospecting. No one loves prospecting ever. But the other big challenge is you doing the groundwork. You got to find the leads. You got to do the prospecting. You got to get the meeting. You got to book the meeting. You got to do the follow-up. You got to do all the heavy lifting. You got to do all this groundwork. And on the screen right now is what type of animal is this? This is indeed a groundhog. And sometimes it feels like Groundhog Day. And we don't want that. That is the other part of the BOFU stage that nobody likes, having the same conversations again and again, handling the same objections again and again, doing all the follow-up again and again and again. I don't know if you've heard this before, but according to the interwebs, it takes an average of 5 follow-ups after a B2B sales conversation to close the deal. 5 follow-ups. I also heard it somewhere said that the average life cycle is 84 days. Now, I would much prefer that you closed your clients in 1 or 2 conversations. Yes, let's I don't know. Let's just we know that follow-up is real. It's going to happen, but let's do what we can to like halve follow-up, or cut it in half, or slice it into quarters, because the groundwork of follow-up often makes it feel like Groundhog Day. The third biggest challenge is getting the opportunity in the first place. So Lenny said finding the leads. Yeah, getting the opportunity in the first place. And sometimes we don't know what to do. And we're sitting there at the table with a pencil stuck between our lip and our nose. That could be a real challenge. I think it was Tristan before that says most of his work comes from referrals and existing clients. By the way, I love selling additional things to existing clients. Selling something to an existing client is 16 times cheaper than finding a new client. But however, it's really hard to scale that way. And there will always be natural attrition. So the 3 biggest headaches are articulating the value. They don't get it. Getting stuck doing the same stuff again and again and again and again. And number 3, just finding those opportunities in the first place. So I want to hear from you. How would it feel? How would it feel, guys and gals, if we could flip these things? How would it feel if you introduced what it is that you were doing to someone and they went, oh yeah, I get it. Oh yeah, that makes total sense. So what next? How do we move forward? How would that feel? How would it feel if all that heavy lifting, all that groundwork that makes it feel like Groundhog Day could largely be automated, turned into a system that's not only going to save you time, but it's going to provide a consistent experience for your future customers and clients. So they're all getting the same experience. Because I don't know if you've heard this before, but the surest way to lose a potential client at the pointy end of the deal is failure to follow up. What if you had systems to help you manage that? How would that feel? What about the leads piece? What if you weren't overly dependent on referrals or just, I don't know, checking your email inbox or your phone every day or your social media messages, just hoping that the next lead comes in feeling powerless? So guys and gals, I want to hear from you. And all I want to hear is how would that make you feel if we could flip that? And I'm looking for 1 or 2 words. Just give me 1 or 2 words. And as I said earlier, we have rewards for the proactive. Bridget gave me 2 words. She said less stressed. and she beat Helen. Bridget, you get a prize. I don't know what it is yet. Helen said, amazing. Keep them coming. Because what I want to do right now is I want to help you feel what it would feel like to flip those things around. There's a guy that I follow called Alex Hormozi, and he said one of the greatest challenges when growing a business is that you don't know what success feels like. You don't know what it feels like to have things right. So if you don't know what it feels like, or if you can't project or forward pace yourself into that particular position, you end up focusing on all the things that are not working, and you always end up second guessing yourself. So I want you to be forward pacing. I want you to be setting your brain up so that you are feeling it and actively heading into that particular destination. Lenny says, seeing the opportunity, lovely. Keep them coming. And I see a lot of people sending little private messages. Don't be coy, don't be shy. Now, in our world, we run weekly group mentoring calls for our private clients. And before those calls, we send out a little bit of a survey, a little bit of a checklist. And we ask what's working, what's not working, how do you need help right now? What epiphanies have you had during the week? And someone not so long ago, we said, what's working? And this person, Louise, said, I finally feel like I have decision clarity. And I went, man, that is so good. That is the opposite of this person here. That's when you look at your whole funnel from a holistic perspective and you go, I know how to attract and pre-qualify the lead. I know how to book an appointment and elevate anticipation. I know how to host that meeting, follow up and close. I know how to delight my customers and clients. People say, oh yeah, we have a 100% satisfaction, something or other rating. And I say, quite frankly, that sounds like bullshit. If I have satisfied clients, that's not good enough. I need to delight my clients, and you need to as well too. And one of the ways that we try to do that is to deliver decision clarity, because if you have decision clarity, you know where you need to focus. You know what you need to be doing next. You know how you need to be spending your time. When you wake up in the morning, when you start the day, when you start any given week, when you start any given month, because your business will be based on a rhythm, a system, and consistent metrics. Cool. So today, here's our agenda. If I want to help you get bigger ticket, better quality clients and help you close those clients consistently, there are 3 ingredients that you will need. Now, if we were baking a cake, I would not say, in my firm opinion, I think that you will should turn on the oven. I would say, if you're baking a cake, actually, let's make it pancakes. If you're making pancakes, you would need, what do you need for pancakes? You would need flour, you would need eggs, and you would need milk. That's what I would say. If you're going to make pancakes, you're going to need those things. You might tweak it up a little bit. You might have a soy milk or a buckwheat flour, although I imagine that wouldn't be very tasty, although healthier. Right? I don't know if there's a replacement for eggs, but I would say you need those 3 things. If you want to be closing big ticket clients consistently, and I'm throwing it out there, 1 a week, 4 a month, you'll need 3 things: a self-closing offer, a 3-step off-ramp, and a B2B leads engine. And these 3 things have been specifically chosen, and I'm introducing them right now, because each of them individually tackles those 3 big challenges that I was talking about just a moment ago. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on your offer. We're going to focus on the systems, and we're going to focus on the soft skills at the top of the funnel. So here's my question for you. Where do you think you need the most help? 1, 2, or 3? This is a self-awareness exercise. Where do you think you need the most help? Now, Kath here, she says, I'm closing as early as the first conversation. I just had my best month ever. Plus, I signed my first international client. Borders have become meaningless. My potential client base has exploded thanks to your training. One of the reasons why Kath was able to do that was because she was able to tick off on all three things. She was able to refine her offer in a way where it was clearly packaged and clear. She had the systems to take people on a journey, to build trust auto-magically. And she had the soft skills at the top of the funnel, largely using LinkedIn to get people into her world. And when those three things come together, that is when magic happens. So Bridget said all of them, but now the offer. Kamesh Kumar says 3. Helen says closing. Awesome. Because right now I'm going to run through all of these 3 things, starting with the offer. And I want you to pay attention. And as we work through these things, you might discover that maybe the bit that you thought was the bit that you need the most help with might not have been so. So let's start with the offer. Now, my background is that I started my entrepreneurial journey as a magazine publisher. Remember those things, magazines made of paper and ink? You'd buy them at newsagents or Borders bookshops. Remember Borders bookshops? You could buy them at airports. Yeah, in my late 20s, I launched Australia's first innovation magazine, and I funded it using credit cards and personal savings. And something wild and crazy happened. First, I won Magazine Launch of the Year, and then I was named Best Small Publisher in Australia twice. Now, I'm not going to say that I had my shiz together. Most of the time, I was running around like a blue-assed fly, but not really having any focus or decision clarity. But over time, I surrounded myself with a whole bunch of really cool people and mentors. And I learned from experience that systems equal sanity. The more systems that you can have in your business, the better off that you are likely to be. So I want you to know, for the new people here, that I'm not some 20-something running a business from my mother's basement trying to sell $17 ebooks online. I'm not one of those 1990s trainers from the 1990s, 1980s, one of those sales trainers with the shiny suit and the power tie. Feeling a little bit self-conscious that my shirt is not ironed today. But other than that, I'm not one of those guys. I'm a real business owner running a real business in the real world, servicing and supporting real people, despite the fact that we do it all online. I get up in the day so full of passion and excitement for these people. My gorgeous wife, my gorgeous kids. And I know that when you went into business for the first time, you went into business because you wanted to control your own destiny. You wanted to be the master of your own destiny. You wanted to be the captain of your own ship. You wanted to go on holidays, whatever you wanted. But of course, it never really works out that way. But what I have discovered over the years, in addition to systems equal sanity, is that automation equals freedom. And we're going to talk about automation. Systems equal sanity, automation equals freedom, community equals clarity. So all the people that are not leaving comments today, you are self-sabotaging. You know what? People say that entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. Only if you let it be. Only if you let it be a lonely journey. If you can surround yourself by people who want to support you, that is the first step to making sure that you are not alone. I think it was Jim Rohn who once said, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Now, we all do want to spend time around the people that we love, but those people are not necessarily the best people to seek advice from when you're running a business. A lot of businesses say that we offer support. And you know what? We have a support team. But the first thing that we say to our support team is that your job is not to provide support. Your job is to leave everyone feeling supported. There is something wonderful about being part of a community. It's only when you're part of a community that you can get real clarity. When you throw around ideas and people come back and you help each other out. So anyway, we're talking about offers. And I've given you some background around me, and it's important that I did, because when I was running that magazine, I had a fantastic mentor at that particular time, and his name was George. And George was a serial entrepreneur. He'd sold his business to Boston Consulting Group at one point. He ended up on the on the board of football teams, all this incredible stuff. And I was fortunate enough to have George invest in me and my business. And George was great at sharing wisdom. And I'd like to share one of George's little stories with you right here, right now. One day, George sat me down and he said, James, do you know how much it costs to buy a bar of lead? Does anyone on the call know how much it costs to buy a little bar of lead? 100 grams of lead. Are you ready? $5. That is how much it costs to buy a bar of lead. Now, if we are able to turn that bar of lead into horseshoes, that bar of lead becomes $12, right? If that bar of lead is transformed into horseshoes, I wonder if I can draw one. There we go. It becomes $12. But get this, are you ready? This will blow your mind. If this bar of lead can be turned into needles for sewing, it's worth $3,500. If this bar of lead can be transformed into balance strings for watches, this bar of lead is worth $300,000. Wild, right? So I, of course, said to George, that's amazing, but why did you tell me that? And he said, James, your value is not in what you do, it's in what you deliver. Right now, I want you to pull out your mobile phone and take a photo of the screen. Can you do that for me? Take a photo of the screen, pull out your phone, take a photo, because your value is not in what you do, it's in what you deliver to your customers and clients. I'm going to give you 3 more seconds to do it. 3, 2, 1, boom. Because when it comes to pulling together a self-closing offer, there are indeed 9 ingredients. Now, I can't possibly go through all 9 today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 3 ingredients, and I want you to play along with me to the best of your abilities. On the screen right now, you can see something extremely important and extremely powerful. We call this the 3 Ps, and it is our marketing monetization mantra. I speak to far too many business owners and I say, who is your target audience? And they say, anyone or anyone with a checkbook and a pulse. They say it slightly differently to that. I target people between 18 and 65 who pay tax, right? Okay. If you want a self-closing offer, it's really, really helpful if you can narrow it down into these 3 things. Indeed, if you're turning over less than 100K, these are the 3 things that you need to focus on the most. 1 person, 1 problem, 1 product. Stop trying to be something for everyone. Stop trying to be a Jack or Jill of all trades. Jack is a fool. Don't be Jack. 1 person, 1 problem, 1 product. Because my first ingredient of a self-closing offer is to have target audience clarity. And this is a game and I want you to play along. It's called the doctor on the plane test. If I jump on a plane and I say, is there a doctor on the plane? Who puts up their hand? The doctors. And maybe the doctor of medieval philosophy and Tibetan history does as well too, because they have a doctorate. But I say, is there a doctor on the plane? Pretty much anyone who puts up their hand is a doctor because they have self-identified as that particular target audience. If I say, hey, who on the plane is excited and passionate about health and mindfulness? People kind of look at each other funny. So I come across a lot of people and they think that they have target audience clarity, but they do not. So I want you to do this right now, and I want you to do it using the chat tool. Who is your target audience? And can you say it in a plane? And can you say it where it fits this description? Are there any? Name the target audience on the plane. This is different to, are there any people that need a new website on the plane? Are there anyone on the plane that needs a new coach on the plane? Right? Okay. Are there any? Name the target audience. Because the reality is you could jump on a plane and you could say, hey, does anyone on the plane need a website? And a handful of hands go up. Next time you jump on the plane and you ask the question, a different bunch of people will raise their hands. That's not a target audience. It's just a bunch of diverse people that all share a similar need. But if you can name them in a way that they self-identify, they are going to stand up and pay attention. So for example, if I said, hey, Lenny, if I said, hey, Bridget, if I said, hey, Callie, if I said, hey, Helen or Louise, Lewis or Tristan or Wem or Will, if I say your name, you're immediately going to go, oh, me. And I didn't say everybody's name, so I apologize if I didn't say everybody's name. I've got too many people here. But however, I'm saying the names of the people that are participating or unusual names that are popping up in front of me. If I say your name, you're going to stand up. Because the reality is I don't know what you need, but when I know who you are and who you self-identify as that particular audience, I can find you. I can figure out your headaches. And if I can find you and figure out your headaches, I can grab your attention. So who wants to have a go? Are there any target audience on the plane? I get people to say, who's your target audience? Purpose-driven entrepreneurial leaders. Fine, purpose-driven entrepreneurial leaders. Who's anyone on the call right now, a purpose-driven entrepreneurial leader? Well, you know, I give money to charity, not purpose-driven. I'm entrepreneurial at times. Sometimes I feel like a leader. Sometimes I feel like fading into obscurity, right? But however, if I said, are there any CEOs of not-for-profits on the plane? I'm probably going to come up with some purpose-driven leaders because you are a CEO of a not-for-profit. Now, Lenny has said business owner. Now that's fine. Are there any business owners on the plane? But I would like Lenny to get more narrow because are you targeting the local locksmith or are you targeting the organization with 400 staff plus? Okay. Have a think about that. What type of business owners? Ski area department manager. Wow, Kelly. All right, cool. That's pretty specific. Helen, we want women who have an empowerment business, but that is too wide. I don't know what an empowerment business is. So this is the third element. If I can't refer you, you haven't passed the doctor on the plane test because it's not an audience that people will easily self-identify as. He says women who run an empowerment business. I know a woman who runs a dry cleaning business. She empowers her customers because the women that come in and use her dry cleaning services come out feeling empowered because they feel like $1 million, right? We need a little bit more clarity. Number two, if we have target audience clarity, we can identify their fist pumping moment. All right. So I could say, I thought I was in the business of training, coaching, consulting. We have a SaaS business. I thought I was in the business of all those things, but all my clients really want is, what do you guys and gals want? You want more leads. You want to book more meetings. You want to have better conversations with very interested prospects, and you want it to all flow seamlessly, consistently. So I could meet you at a networking event. What do you do, James? Oh, well, I'm a trainer and a coach and a consultant, and I have a SaaS business. At which point you go, where's the person with the drinks on the tray? You say, that sounds interesting, which is code for that's not interesting. But if I said, what do you do? And I said, what do you do? And you said, I'm a consultant. And I said, well, you know how consultants often struggle to articulate their value, why they are different. What I do is I provide frameworks and systems so that they can demonstrate value with confidence, sign new clients without stress. What do you do? That there is the fist pumping moment. Now, back to this. If you can identify the person with the problem, you can come up with a whiz-bang product. Because the reality is value is relative. Value is relative. Some people will pay a whole lot more for something that other people will not pay a whole lot more for. So for example, and I wonder if this slide's going to come up. Sarah here. She was a generalist marketer running a business in regional South Australia, trying to do something for everyone. She had no consistency in her marketing. Not all her clients were delighted. They all had mixed expectations. All her proposals were different, which became a massive time suck. She was serving anyone and everyone in her vicinity with a pulse. We had a conversation, sat down, talked about target audience clarity, which helped us identify problem clarity and product clarity. And she went from serving anyone and everyone with a pulse to helping wineries sell more wine online and at the cellar door. So I said this, value is relative. Her typical client was spending about $500 a month. However, a client, because the value was so high, was willing to spend $2,400 a month. Just like that bar of lead. She was selling something that people didn't value for $500, got target audience clarity, one person, identified their problems that they're willing to pay the big bucks for, and boosted her prices significantly. All right. What is your fist pumping moment in your industry? It's that moment like at the end of The Breakfast Club. Remember that movie, The Breakfast Club? Where at the very end, Judd Nelson walks across the football field, turns his back to the camera, pumps his fist. Don't you forget about me. And you feel like $1 million. What's the fist pumping moment in your industry? Because if you can identify that, often the headache is the inverse of that. So number one, do you have target audience clarity? Have a play around with the doctor on the plane test. 2, what is their fist pumping moment? Because that is indeed what you are actually selling. You think you might be selling your time, your expertise, access to your crew. But the reality is people are buying outcomes. All right. So I said that there are 9 ingredients and I could only tackle 3 today. That's 1, that's 2. Now I've jumped to 7. All right. This one is called chunk and bump. Chunk and bump. So at the very beginning, I talked about different pricing structures and how billing by the hour, I don't know, you get into a vicious cycle, billing by the hour. You end up like in this hunt, pitch, deliver vicious cycle. If you're delivering high value, high risk, it's very difficult to win the work. But as you move to the right of the spectrum, high value, low risk, and package up what it is that you do, it becomes easier to sell. So a lot of people say to me, but James, how am I going to package up what it is that I do? Well, first, if you have a clear target audience and you understand their headaches and your fist pumping moment, you can build a package around that. So for example, a web developer might have 3 packages: the authority package, the lead package, and the e-commerce package. And they'll send, and it might be the authority package for coaches and consultants, the lead package for SaaS companies, and the e-commerce package for e-commerce businesses, right? It's all based on the outcome. All right, so I've jumped to 7. People often, when I say package up what you do, they say, but how am I going to do that? How am I going to package up what I do? Well, we have a couple of exercises for that. And one is audit what you already do. All right, down the left, we can see a typical sequence of steps, for how you might win the work. So often you might have a client interview. You might do a little bit of research. You might do a little bit of pre-selling where you give them some value. Hey, check out this report. Watch this video I made. There might be a little bit of back and forth where they ask you for some advice. You give them some wisdom. Their confidence grows. You might onboard them even before they've paid you some money. So you might give them a free strategy session or a free half day, or even maybe in a free full day. All right, let's have a look at these options here. A client interview doesn't need to be a client interview. It could be a 5-page plan. What we're doing is we're taking the step and we're giving it a name. When we give it a name, we turn it into a thing, and that is the first step towards packaging something up. So I don't say, hey, book a call with me and let's catch up and explore ways that I can take your money. I say, why don't you book a B2B funnel mapping plan, right? You might say, book a call, and at the end of the call, I'm going to give you a 5-page plan. Let's book an audit. Let's book an assessment. Let's book a strategy call. And at the end of it, you're going to get a 5-page plan. It suddenly becomes a thing. What about the research? Well, that can be framed as a situation analysis report. Pre-selling might be a training package that you deliver, back and forth calls, strategic support, the onboarding strategy workshop. As you begin to do this and audit the things that you already do, you can put hard costs associated with them, which is a sudden shock. When you suddenly go, oh my God, there's a hard cost associated with each of these things that I'm giving away for free. There's always a hard cost. And then there's always a soft cost, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. There are all these different costs, which means that you can come up with total costs. Now, if you're able to do this, you can look at it and go, well, my 5-page plan delivers low ROI, but it helps them avoid mistakes. That COI stands for the cost of inaction. And then you can give it a fair value. Suddenly, your 5-page plan is worth $199. Your situation analysis is worth $997. Your training package is worth $1997. Your strategic support is priceless. The onboarding session is $6,000. And you package it all up and say, oh, well, we can do all that and start right now for $4,800. Now, this is just one of a couple of exercises that we help our clients run through when it comes to chunking and bumping. Because if you can chunk down what you do, you can bump the value up. But here's the lesson. And once again, pull out your cameras to take a photo of the screen right now. Are you ready? Chunk down what you do to build the value up. Because the crazy thing about what I just described, are you ready? Is all those things have value, but you're giving them away for free because you don't value them. Did you catch that? All those things have value, but you're giving them away for free because you don't value them. If you were McDonald's, you'd chunk things down. Think about a hamburger. Big Mac is not a Big Mac. It's 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Rock and roll. Check out Troy here. He says, I was on the phone talking with a potential client about the strategy sessions we offer to prospects, normally for free, as I went through the process that you teach, went through your formula, breaking it down into outcomes, things, and feelings like you teach. Suddenly I realized that if I offer this meeting for free, I'm going to sound like an idiot. So when he asked how much the session would cost, I plucked a number from the sky, $1,600 for the strategy session, and offered that. He immediately said yes. And that's how we now do business. We now get paid to pitch, and the quality of clients has vastly improved too. Now, I'm going to put it out there that most people on this call are stuck at the B and P stage of booking meetings. The B and P stage. What does B and P stage stand for? It stands for begging and pleading. Reaching out to strangers on social media. Hey, let's catch up and explore ways that we can work together. Book a discovery call with me. Book a breakthrough call. No one wants to be discovered. No one wants to jump on a call with you so that you can mine them for all the information that you need to know to sell them better. No one wants to be broken down. You say to people, who wants change? And they'll go, I want change. You say, who wants change? Oh, not me. I don't want to change, right? And most people, I will say on the call, are at the begging and pleading stage when it comes to booking a meeting. The next evolution is the AWP stage. And AWP stands for an appointment with purpose. And what that means is that you restructure your meeting in a way where when you say your meeting, people go, oh, that sounds like something that I want to be a part of. If I bring it back to this, one person, one problem, one product. So for example, we offer a B2B offer mapping strategy call. We know that the person is a B2B business owner. We know that their offers are stinky. So we turn our meeting into a B2B offer mapping strategy call. What I've done is I've identified the target audience, an outcome word, followed by a thing word. And a thing word can be an audit, an assessment, a mapping call, any of those things. And in doing so, I transform my boring meeting into something that people desire. If they desire it, because it sounds like something they would ordinarily pay money for, they are more likely to book that call, and they are more likely to show up, and they are more likely to show up excited. The evolution of that is where Troy has got to, and that is where you get paid to pitch. There are all sorts of forms of power offers. And a power offer is when you say it and they go, yeah, I got it. So guys and girls, we just hit the 1 hour mark. And on the screen right now, you can see our paid to pitch planner. I want to make sure that you're still with me. Who wants the paid to pitch planner? Who wants this particular document? Would you like me to send this to you via email in the next 24 hours? If you want it, tell me that you want it. If you don't want it, don't say anything because you're not going to get it. Will has chimed in. Good to see a new name. Good to see a new name. Rock and roll. Keep the messages coming. Keep the messages coming. Keep doing it. So Naomi is the natural evolution of this process. She says, I went through the process you teach and I restructured my offer. Her main offer, not her AWP, but her core offer. Not only did I close the next 2 sales calls with new clients without an ounce of sales pressure, I made a record sale for my business. I doubled my rates. It was my biggest client spend ever. The interesting thing is that Naomi has doubled her rates again since then. Indeed, she told me that she's times 10 her rates, more than times 10, because she was signing clients for about $1,000 and now she's signing clients for $10,000. And she got such a valuable experience working with us and we loved her so much, we actually recruited her and now she works 2 half days a week delivering strategy calls for us because she went from fearing calls because they were all about sales pressure to calls where she delivers value and she absolutely loves it. What a win-win. All right. Self-closing offers. Guys and girls, what was the most important piece of what I just ran through then? Did you have any epiphanies or did you have any breakthroughs? Type something out because when you type it out, you're more likely to remember it. If you remember it, you're more likely to take action. If you take action, you create momentum. Momentum creates momentum and you get outcomes. But also when you type something out, other people are going to see what it is that you have to say. Self-closing offers. You need to have clarity around the target audience. Then you can figure out their headaches, their obstacles, their aspirations and desires. Then you can package up your product based on an outcome-based solution and you're no longer selling lead, but you're selling balance strings for watches. Let's have a look here. Tristan, people resist paying for things less than we think. Yeah, people actually want things. If you say, I want to sell you my time, they're not going to value your time. And the reason why is they don't value their time. Most people use their time in very inefficient ways. Poor people spend money. So poor people spend time to save money. Successful people spend money to save time. But however, people don't value your time because they don't value their time. So stop selling time, package it up as a thing that people want. Not, hey, let's catch up and explore ways that we can work together. Would you like to book an assessment? Helen, clarity on who I'm talking to and breaking down the value for them. Yeah, it really comes down to the person and what they are going to get. One person, one problem, one product. Bridget, the way to figure out the package. All right, cool. So this is Robin on the screen here. He says, I'm going to start over here. You go through a process, putting a system together. You put a lot of thinking into the stages and setting it all up. And then it just works and extremely quickly, then it works again and again and again. He says, I'm talking about several $100,000. Your strategy has been delivering leads to our business on a continuous basis without us actually going out and actively hunting those leads down. We've seen these leads translate into sales. I read that last bit quite deliberately. We've seen these leads translate into sales, and that is because Robin was able to put together a 3-step off-ramp. What's that? Guys and gals, what is your ultimate online transaction? Ultimate online transaction stands for the ultimate, the final online, digital, virtual transaction, step or stage that happens online. Transactions can be measured. So there are all sorts of different ultimate online transactions. Somebody could download a coupon. Somebody could click on a link and you make some money through a referral fee. But I've got 2 on the screen. What is your ultimate online transaction? You get a lead at the top of the funnel. You take them on a journey. Does it end online when they buy your $27 ebook? Or their $1,000 or your $1,997 course? Or does your ultimate online transaction end when they book a call with you? So let me know. is your ultimate online transaction the very last step in the journey when they book or they buy from you? Which one is the right one for you? Do they book or do they buy? It ends when they enroll. How do they enroll? Do they just click a link on your website and they enroll, or do you have to have a conversation with them? Because it's the ultimate online transaction. So it's when they do something online and then it might shift offline into a phone call. A Zoom call is still online, but it's not the same thing. It used to be face-to-face. A conversation, says Lenny. All right, a conversation, says Helen. In our world, we talk about the inbound VIP. The inbound VIP stands for a very interested prospect. What we want is we want someone to book a call, and when they turn up on that call, they're really excited to be there. Indeed, most of the time, the only thing that's going to stop them is whether or not they can afford you. The inbound VIP. And if you want to book calls and turn this into a process that you can scale, so you don't end up like that Groundhog Day in the image, that groundhog in the image that I showed you a little bit earlier, you are going to need 3 tech building blocks. Once again, I've only got time to talk through 3, but I think that these are 3 going to be the most helpful. Number 1, you need some sort of booking form. Yeah? You need a booking form where they can click a link and they can book a time with you. And the reason why you want to do that is, 1, you want to position yourself as someone in demand. Right? That whole, hey, when's good for you? No, when's good for you? No, when's good for you? You know, that doesn't position you as in demand. That positions you as someone as needy. Here's my link. You'll see my availability, book a call. The other reason is that you're going to save a heck of a lot of time because you don't have all that back and forth. And number 3, you can track it. So if I said, how many meetings with VIPs, very interested prospects, did you book last week? You might be able to tell me. How many meetings with VIPs did you book last month? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone have a go? Just think back. How many meetings did I book with very interested prospects last month? What if I said this month last year? Will, thanks for your honesty. If you're not tracking this stuff, how can you improve it? I think it was Peter Drucker that said you can't improve what you don't measure. So you need some sort of booking tool. The second thing that you're going to need is somewhere to collect the lead. And this is why this is called an off-ramp. And I'm going to talk about lead generation strategies in just a moment, but there are all sorts of different ways to generate leads. And the most important thing that you're going to need is a quid pro quo. What's a quid pro quo? It means you give something and people give something back. So you say, here's my gift. And they say, sure, now I'm willing to give you my first name, my last name, my email address, and my phone number. You need some sort of quid pro quo. And you need some sort of tech tool to be able to manage the delivery, the collection of the data and the delivery of that quid pro quo. So on the screen right now, you can see 3 examples of a landing page. The example on the left is a homepage of a website. The one in the middle is a long form landing page. It goes down the page. Whoops, what just happened then? It goes down the page and there are testimonials and case studies and other useful, valuable information. And then the one on the right is something called a lead capture gateway. And it's kind of like a landing page quiz hybrid. All right, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think converts the most leads? 1, 2, 3. Give me a number. 1, 2, 3. I want to make sure that you're still with me and that you're still paying attention. I see a 2 and I also see a 2 and I see a 2. All right, let me give you the metrics. The best websites in the world convert at 2%. They are stinky when it comes to conversion because there's too many distractions everywhere, right? Too many buttons that you can click. The reason why landing pages work so well is that they drive the prospect where you want them to go. You control the journey. So the best homepages convert at 2%. The worst landing pages convert at 10%. So if you want to drive traffic anywhere, stop pointing them to your homepage. Point them to a landing page where you have your quid pro quo, and you'll immediately increase your conversions 5-fold. So if you're not getting enough leads, and you think, I'm not getting enough leads, point all your traffic, whether it's links in your social media profiles, whether it's ads, whether you do a deal with a strategic marketing alliance partner, Point all that traffic to a landing page. Even if you have a blog, have links in your blog pointing to your landing page. That's how you're going to collect the leads. Now, the worst homepages convert at 2%. The best homepage is at 2%. The worst landing page is at 10%. This one here below is one that we improved and crafted over many, many moons, and it was converting at 33%. All right, who wants to have a guess what the lead capture gateway on the right is currently converting at? All right, homepage 2%. Trashy landing page 10%. High converting landing page 30%. Lead capture gateway 40% plus. Why? Why is this particular thing on the right converting so well? Because it doesn't ask for the first name or the last name, all that stuff. It asks a simple question. Someone clicks the button, they answer that question, it goes to the next step. It's super focused and it harnesses the principles of gamification. This one here, people get lost on. They're too busy reading, then the phone rings and they get distracted. This one on the right, they click the button, it starts, and the moment that they start something, they desperately want to finish it. Now, we've got a way to collect the lead. We've got a way to book the meeting. What else do we need? Well, we also like to inject something that we call a sandwich page. A sandwich page between those two steps to pre-qualify the lead. So we have the opt-in gift to collect the lead, then we redirect them to a mini diagnostic before introducing our booking meeting. And that there is a 3-step off-ramp, which means that you could be running ads. You could have your own website. You could do a strategic marketing alliance. You could be investing in SEO. You could be dropping links all over social media. Send them to your opt-in gift, redirect them to your diagnostic so that you're not wasting time with tire kickers. You're meeting with the best people. The diagnostic is also used to elevate anticipation and get them excited, and then they show up. When they give you their email address, you can follow up with some emails. And surprisingly, this creates a sequence of steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Automation equals freedom, guys and gals. Automation equals freedom. So here's a super simple case study. John Wycard came into our world. He just started a brand new business. He didn't have target audience clarity. He had a super confusing website. Honestly, guys and girls, if you're turning over less than $100,000 a year, you probably don't need a website. You just need a high converting and intelligently structured sequence of landing pages and off-ramp to get people off social media or off other people's databases or off Google or off your website and into your own database, into your meeting room, even if it's virtual. So he had a really confusing website, no target audience clarity. He did get some target audience clarity, which was product managers within startups, which allowed him to easily create a gift. 5 steps to stop your product sabotaging your startup. People could opt in for the gift, and then they could book a meeting with him. Not some vague invitation to catch up, but they could book a power-up strategy call. In 45 minutes, we will work through a proven 5-part formula to identify the top opportunities for accelerating the progress of your new technology, product, or service. One person, one problem, one product. Indeed, one product, another product, before introducing his third product, the thing that he actually wants to sell. So John did that, and then he posted in our Facebook group a couple of days later. He said, so I delivered messages to 50 people on LinkedIn. I'm going to come back to LinkedIn 9 hours ago. Since then, 7 people have contacted me through LinkedIn. 6 people have downloaded my ebook. So that's 6 leads. And 1 person booked a meeting. 9 hours. Now I said, how many meetings did you book last month? And did you even know? And I was greeted by deafening silence. And then Will said 0. John booked a meeting in 9 hours. All right. As I film this right now in Australia, it's 11:15 in the morning. What if even you were able to book an additional meeting or 2 by Tuesday next week? 9 hours. Anyway, I said, stay in touch. And then I got an SMS at 8:48 at night. I don't normally appreciate getting SMSs late at night, but he wrote, she ordered. And I'm like, what? Who? Oh, yeah, baby. Thanks. Couldn't have done it without you. She came from LinkedIn. So that was the one person who booked the meeting. He followed up with another sale a short time later, which he posted in our private Facebook group. New client, $1,900. Woohoo, thanks. $1,900 might not seem like a lot of money. But within, are you ready? Within my 9 ingredients of a self-closing offer, it's worthwhile having a high no-brainer offer. What's a high no-brainer offer? It's not what you do for all your clients. It's a high no-brainer to get them across the line. A high no-brainer to get them across the line. So instead of saying, hey, buy my $30,000 project, why don't you invest in a $2,400 audit? Because it's 16 times easier to sell something to someone who is already an existing client. So John's super simple case study. I got 73 leads via LinkedIn, 12 meetings booked, rock and roll, 2 sales of my core product, and I have 2 more decisions pending. Not bad, huh? He says, I did that in 2 weeks. He didn't do it in 2 weeks. He did it in about 6 weeks, but it took him about 4 weeks to set up the building blocks to make it happen and make it super easy. So there was a lesson within the lesson there, and that is, are you setting up stupid barriers? So this is another John, not John Wycard, this is John Whitehead. But he was trying to be a jack of all trades, selling funnel analytics services, right? After we managed to have a conversation, we gave him some focus. He decided to focus on not-for-profits. Instead of selling funnel analytics, he knew that not-for-profits wanted more donations and was willing to spend a fair chunk of change to get donations. Finally, instead of trying to sell massive projects, he decided to start selling an audit as a smaller step. Yes, a high no-brainer. Here's what he said. You gave me a great tip with selling audit as a core product, then a retainer for continuity. I've got 2 clients since the call. I can't remember whether the conversation was with me or with one of the crew. But when someone signs up with us, we try to make sure that everybody gets a strategy call to give them some focus and some clarity. That is what we call a fist pumping moment. I've got 2 clients since the call. So within a matter of days of entering our world, he managed to close 2 people that had been sitting on the fence for months and months and months. Guys and girls, I think this is my 3rd and last participation bonus. I really need you to step up, guys and girls. I really need you to pipe up. On the left of the screen, you can see self-closing offers for B2B, where I run through the 9 ingredients for a self-closing offer. Now, here's my little secret. I've never written this down yet. I've only got it in videos and in training that is behind paywalls for my private clients. I need you to tell me whether I should turn this into a document. And if enough people tell me right now, type the words do it or hell yes, I will make it happen. All right. I need it to be at least, I was going to say 5, but I just got 5. It needs to be at least, let's make it 9. All right. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Some people are messaging privately. 5, 6, 7. All right. I need 2 more. 8. Who's going to be the last one? I need 1 more. Or is it 9? I think it is 9. Yay. Woo. Well done, crew. We're going to make that happen. Yay. Virtual round of applause. All right. Your offer is super important. I'm going to put this out there. You know, if you could spend 90 minutes, just 90 minutes, focusing on nothing but your offer in the next week or 2, that would be the best use of your time all year. Seriously, you know, we focus on systems, we focus on getting leads, but you know what? If you can't close at the pointy end of the deal, you're going to be screwed. Anyway, let's move on to soft skills at the top of the funnel. Now, when people talk about soft skills, they're normally talking about this stage, aren't they? And we have lots of training on how to close clients faster, reduce the number of conversations, and that will come down to your offer. It'll come down to your systems and how you handle the objections before the call, which is what a great thing if you've got the technology to support you. But people often don't talk about soft skills at the top of the funnel. And every business needs a leads engine, and every business is going to have a different leads engine. So depending on your target audience, one person, one problem, one product will define what your leads engine is going to be. Now, because I run the B2B school, and because I know that most of you guys and gals are B2B, and because I forced you to do the doctor on the plane test, I'm pretty confident that most people on this call, their target audience is going to be available to them on LinkedIn. So I'm going to focus on LinkedIn for a little bit. So Louise here says, I manually started 80 conversations on LinkedIn the other day. So far, 20 have replied. I've collected 6 leads and booked 3 meetings with prospects. Once again, if you have the systems in place, a clear offer, which comes down to your 3 Ps, one person, one problem, one product, it's really, really easy to collect leads and book meetings. Indeed, we're going to do some maths together. We talked about this before. The funnel, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, TOFU, MOFU, BOFU. We did some napkin maths, and we're going to extend on that napkin maths to get you some North Star metrics part 2. I asked you how many clients you needed per month, and we messed around with 4 and 8. We talked about an average close rate of being 1 in 4, which means that you might need 16 meetings or 32 meetings. Next up, what is your lead to meeting conversion rate? Now, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with a new client and they've known this data. I don't think I've ever met anyone and said, what is your leads to meetings conversion rate? They just go, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had anyone go, it's 12 or it's 37, right? So this is where you get the lead at the top of the funnel, offering you quid pro quo. They enter your funnel and you either capture the lead immediately because they go through your diagnostic, they're the right fit. So you introduce them to your AWP, your appointment with purpose, or they're not the right fit and you send them away, or they go through your email sequence and then they get to there. I'm going to come up with a metric of 1 in 5, which is roughly 20%. Now, what's 16 times 5? Off the top of my head, I think it's 80. 16 times 5. Yeah, it is 80, which means if that's 80, this would be 160. So if you want to get 4 meetings in any given month, so if you want to get 4 clients in any given month, you're going to need 16 meetings in any given month, which means that you're going to need to get 80 leads in any given month. How are you going? Are you keeping up? Are you still with me? Right. The other element of this is, if I say you're going to need, if you want 4 clients, you're going to need 16 meetings, which is 80 leads. I know that there's a bunch of people on this call right now that are going to be going, what? I'm barely like getting 5 leads a month here. And suddenly you're talking about 80. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to set yourself what could be a lofty goal. And I want you to tap it out on the screen for me right now. I want you to set a daily goal. So if you need 80 leads, let's round that up to 90. So 3 a day. Cool. By the way, by the time we're finished here, I talked about decision clarity a little bit earlier. I hope that you're going to be feeling a lot more confident about hitting this particular goal. Now, on the right-hand side of the screen, I'm not going to write 5. I'm not going to write 6. It sounds too daunting. So I'm going to write 5. 3 a day. 3 leads per day. I believe that anyone on this call can get 3 leads per day without spending a dime on ads. I believe that any small B2B business owner can get 100 leads in any given month without spending any money on ads. You will most likely need to spend some money on some technology solutions to make sure it's all happening. and it's happening in an automated way, that it's not so difficult to get 100 leads in any given month without spending any money on ads. Above 100 a month, yeah, you either have to get really good with the technology stuff and figure out really sophisticated ways to scale your strategies, or at that point, you might need to start investing in more scalable strategies such as ads. Cool? Excellent. So we're moving into the home straight. We're talking about lead generation. And what I'm going to do is I've got 3 layers of LinkedIn that I can teach you. 3 layers of LinkedIn: the welcome mat, my content rhythms, and scale strategies. And the reason why I've got these on the screen right now is that if you were to apply my welcome mat strategies, you will generate an extra 30 leads per month. If you apply my content rhythm strategies, you will generate 30 leads per month. If you want to apply my scale strategies, you will get 30 leads per month, which is a total of 90 leads. Goal achieved, badge unlocked. But I don't have time to go through all 3 again today. So once again, I'm only going to be able to give you 1. This is choose your own adventure time, guys and gals. You need to tell me which of these strategies you want me to run through right now: the welcome mat, the content rhythms, or the scale strategies. Helen, once again, was first off the fence. She says the welcome mat. Will says the welcome mat. Kamlesh Kumar says the welcome mat. Cool. This is some really easy stuff. The welcome mat. All right. Let's do it. Let's play a game. So those people that didn't pipe up just then, you need to pipe up just right now. As we enter the 90-minute mark, I need to make sure that you're here. You're still with me. I want to hear from you. Who wants to play a game? Indeed, I want to know, are you getting value? Are you having fun? Are you having fun? Are you getting value? Who wants to play a game? Give me some noise while I have a sip of water right now. And if I don't hear from you, I'm going home. Taking my bat and ball and I'm going home. Awesome. This game is called Catchy or Crappy. And all you need to do is tell me whether or not the profiles that I'm showing you are catchy or crappy, because this is the welcome mat. I'm just going to blow my nose, actually. I'm just going to blow my nose. Just take a second. Here's the funny thing about LinkedIn. Everybody wants to use LinkedIn to open themselves up to opportunities, and then immediately they start putting up barriers. That's how LinkedIn works. Oh, I want to use LinkedIn to open myself up to opportunities. Oh, no, I'm going to start putting up barriers. And I'm sure everyone on the call has done this in some way. What we want to do is we want to reverse this scenario. We want to lay out the welcome mat. We want to position you as the prize so you can get more leads every day, every week, every month. All right, cool. Catchy or crappy? This is Sarah on the screen right now. Catchy or crappy? I want to hear from you. All you have to do is type one of 2 words. Catchy or crappy? Catchy, it's gonna compel people to want to engage with Sarah. All right, I got a catchy, crappy, catchy, 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 catchy. I believe that this is catchy. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's catchy. 1, beautiful smile. We can see the eyes. Eyes are the windows to the soul. That's terrific. If you've got sunglasses in any of your social media profiles, get them off. Makes people think that you're trying to hide something. There's a beautiful image in the back as well too. What does Sarah do? She's a wine marketing specialist. She says, I help wineries sell more wine online. Get this. She's even put her email address. What does her about say? Tell me if this sounds familiar. You put the hard yards in the vineyard and during the vintage, and now pallets and pallets of wine have arrived. Not only is your storage chock full, but you've got a long list of creditors. Sarah's profile is all about the audience. If there's one weakness here, I would say that Sarah's profile has only got 182 leads, connections. You've got to get up to at least 500. Then something called the 500 effect kicks in and more opportunities come your way. So if there's an area of improvement, it's just get that up to 500 as quickly as you possibly can. Number 2, this is my business partner, John Inglasos. Sorry to throw you under the bus, John. Guys and gals, catchy or crappy? Catchy or crappy? This is my business partner, John Inglasos. Thank you, Lenny, for being honest. It's crappy. All right, 1 is the Don of digital disruption, whatever that means. He looks like he's gonna put out a hit on you. It's all gloomy and miserable and all this other stuff. And John is, yeah, oh wow, another marketing entrepreneur. He's a growth hacker, whatever the hell that is, the Don of digital disruption. About the only thing good about this is that he's got to 500. Great. So he looks so sad. He does. He doesn't look welcoming at all. And then his bio sounds like it's about them, but it's about him. My mission in my business is to do this. Look at your copy, look at your website and do a little bit of a we versus you audit sometime. Count the number of time where it's about I or me or we versus you. And if there are more we's and I's and whatever's than you got to flip that, man, guys and gals. All right, this should be super easy. Is this crappy or catchy? Catchy or crappy? Tell me. There's John Whitehead. You met him before. Such a lovely guy. Is this catchy or crappy? What do you reckon? Oh, man. Oh, man. What is that? Nice photo. But what is that? What is this? Director of Data Insights and Analytics. All right, this is hilarious. In 1991, I completed an honors degree in economics and geography. In 1993, I completed an advanced diploma in multimedia, getting a placement as... All right. Fortunately, he improved it. I help not-for-profits get more donations, event registrations, and volunteers. Email me at, there's his email address. Tell me if this sounds familiar. And he's pretty much pinched a lot of the language that Sarah was using. That's totally cool. And now he's John Whitehead, a donation data interpreter. Still a little bit cute, but we've got a better idea about what he does from a visual perspective. He's kept the nice photo. And we know exactly what it is that he does. Final one, catchy or crappy? Catchy or crappy? What do you think? What does Ben Cusack do? Ben Cusack he helps people with government grants to grow your business, not his business, to grow your business. I help businesses find and secure government grants. Businesses is a little bit broad, but however, who doesn't want free money? He's a government grant specialist. He's got his email address in his profile. Want to know if there is a grant for your business? Email me at. And then he's got, most people hate government grants. Yeah, I know they can be painful. And here is the moral of the story. The most effective profiles are one person addressing usually only 1 or 2 problems, and they become the product. It's your profile, but make it about them. So a couple different elements that I want to make you aware of when we talk about the welcome mat, a couple different action steps that you can take. Did you notice how they all had their email address in their profile? That makes it easier for other people to invite you to connect with them, right? So LinkedIn puts up barriers that will prevent other people from reaching out to you and inviting you to connect to them. LinkedIn wants to know, did you go to school together? Did you go to college or university together? Have you worked together? All these different questions. And if they're going, no, 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 LinkedIn then says, do you have their email? And if they can copy paste, they can invite you to connect with them, right? You become the prize. That's one of the reasons. Second is that if my profile is hyper targeted, I get emails from people and they basically say, hey, James, I saw your profile. Can you help me? Not everyone wants to use LinkedIn to engage. They want to use email. Sure, occasionally people scrape it, but my spam filters just keep getting better and better. And if someone misbehaves, I block them. Cool. So in my world, I want to set myself up. So in all those profiles, there was an email, the catchy ones. They named the target audience in most situations. And in doing so, they highlighted problems, which allowed them to add keywords which means that people were more likely to find them organically. Just as another hot bonus tip or two, check your settings. Sometimes your settings are making you invisible. You can check your privacy settings. And sometimes you're just invisible and you just didn't even know that you're invisible. So check your privacy settings. And also join 20 groups where your target audience are likely to hang out. I'm just trying to think of someone who gave me a target audience a little bit earlier. I think it was Helen that said women in the empowerment business. So maybe LinkedIn groups for women coaches. Join a bunch of groups like that, and we'll also make it easier for other people to find you. Now, let's take this up a notch. So I mentioned tools before. My favorite business development tool is a tool called B2B-.io. Check it out sometime. It's so amazing that I bought the company, as the guy used to say, or became a business partner with the original creator and founder, B2B-.io. When it comes to LinkedIn tools, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type something into the chat, and that is because the automation tools just keep changing all the time as they keep getting shut down. Now, I hope that this is the right one, but there's this constant revolving door of LinkedIn automation tools that start well, people go, that's amazing, and then they get shut down. At the end of that link, you will find the LinkedIn automation tool that we're using right now, because we always have the same link, we just changed the tool. But there's a strategy that we use that we used using a third-party tool called the Sticky Beak. And this is going to sound a little bit wild and a little bit crazy, but bear with me. Of course, I am going to share the caveat. Using automation tools goes against LinkedIn's terms and conditions. So if you use an automation tool on LinkedIn, you will be breaching LinkedIn's terms and conditions. LinkedIn's terms and conditions also tell you that you can't empower your PA or your VA to use your LinkedIn profile for you. However, I'm sure there are even people within LinkedIn that have their PA or their VA managing their LinkedIn profile for them. LinkedIn's terms and conditions are harsh. So using automation tools will breach their terms and conditions, but they also don't want to severely penalize you. They just want to slap you on the wrist, and they want to penalize the businesses that are creating the automation tools. Me personally, I push the boundaries, and I've had my wrist slapped about 4 or 5 times where I've had my account suspended, and then about 7 to 14 days later, it comes back. So my tip for you, if you are wanting to use automation tools, is don't use multiple tools simultaneously and don't use them too aggressively. Most automation tools set limits, follow the limits that they recommend. All right, with that out of the way, what's the Sticky Beak tool? Imagine this. Imagine at the end of the day, you empower a robot to hijack your LinkedIn profile. A robot to log in as you, pretend that they are you, and then, get this, go visit the profiles of people that represent your ideal target audience. So this robot goes to people that are your target audience. You set it up to tell it who your target audience on LinkedIn is, and you say, go visit those people. You empower it to visit your second-degree connections. Okay? And it might indeed be 100 a night. Target audience, secondary connections, 100 a night. And this tool will go in and it will look at people's profiles as if it was you, and it will go away. And then it'll look at another one as if it was you, and then it will go away. Why would I empower a robot to do that? Why would I empower a funny robot? I am a robot. Why would I empower a robot to do that, to hijack my profile and take over my profile and just look at people's profiles and then leave again? Because here's the crazy thing. People wake up in the morning and they go, who has been checking out my profile? Have you noticed that? You go to your profile, you log in and it says 10 people checked out your profile last night on last week photos. Who is this person checking out my profile? Now imagine for a second that you're in the business of, I don't know, government grants. Oh, wow, that is someone I would like to be connected with. That sounds really, really useful to me. Imagine for a second that you are a not-for-profit. Oh man, this guy can get us more donations. If you lay out the welcome mat in combination with the sticky beak, whoops, what's 3% of 100? It's 3. 3 a day. Now, that's only going to work if your profile matches your target audience. So for most people, it's more likely to be about 1%. Plus, you've got the people who are looking at your profile and are naturally attracted. So that's one strategy, welcome mat plus sticky bake. Now, as I ran through that, there are a couple of people on the call like going, oh, that sounds a little bit fiddly. That's what this guy said. So this guy, Ben Cusack, went through one of our training programs, a training program called The Recipe. And I think it was like week 5 or week 6. He still hadn't done anything. He'd done nothing. Sweet FA. And he kept reaching out saying, oh, but that won't work and that won't work. And I don't want to do this and I don't want to try that. And I was just, Ben, just do this one thing for me, all right? Do the welcome mat and the sticky bake. Whoosh, profile views go up. Whoosh, new invitations to connect go up. Whoosh, he's in the top 1% of profile views among his connections. And then he delivers me this particular testimonial way back in 2016 as a LinkedIn recommendation. Just wanted to say a big thanks. LinkedIn is exploding. 5 inbound potential clients yesterday, 190 pending contact requests. I now have to refuse coffee meetings unless they book a 15-minute teleconference. And then it is a 2-week wait to see me. I now have too much work on. Thank you. And that is because Ben did one simple, fairly basic thing. Cool? Cool. There are a bunch of reasons why I keep asking you to write comments. I keep asking you to write your epiphanies, any particular lessons that jumped out. And right now, once again, I'm going to ask you to take out your phone and take a photo. And that is because everybody is looking for some secret magic hack or trick that can turn your business into a massive overnight money spiller. Whoa, money spinner. But the reality is it's all the little things that add up. And when all those little things add up, that's when things click into place. That was one lead generation strategy. And I've got about 24 of them up my sleeve. And not all of them are going to be relevant for you, but some of them might. One thing that I would say is LinkedIn, when you combine the welcome mat with the content rhythms, with the scale strategy, pretty much just about anything is possible. So big picture, you need an offer. Little picture, you need a leads engine. But the lead engine, back to the middle picture, is all pretty pointless unless you have some sort of off-ramp. All right, we are now right into the home straight. Doesn't look like anyone's left, so this is great. We're right in the home straight. Pop quiz. Have you been paying attention? I've got another prize for you here. Have you been paying attention? Who do you think is most likely to consistently close more deals? Tristan has beaten Helen. Go, Tristan. Tristan, you unlock a prize. I don't know what that prize is. So far, Helen's unlocked a prize. Tristan's unlocked a prize. Bridget's unlocked a prize. Who do you think is more likely to consistently close more deals? The fearless and seasoned sales professional without a system for sales and selling, or the sometimes shy, often awkward, reluctant seller with a system to refine and follow? What do you think? Yes, you're all still here with me. You all said B. Natural sellers naturally over-rely on their own skills and talent. They have ups and downs. They must constantly self-motivate. And when life gets in the way, they can recruit others to do the job for them because they know how they do what it is that they do. On the screen is a sticky bonus, and you will get the sticky bonus simply for sticking around until the Q&A. All you need to do is make it to the end. All you need to do is make it to the end right now and you get our one call close formula, the document, which is super powerful. I think Helen's going to get the videos as well too. Keep participating. So far I've focused on a bunch of things that you should do. And if you are going to prioritize, I would say the offer, then the systems, then the soft skills. But at the end of the day, I've been talking about all the things that I'd like you to do. Let's talk about the things that I don't want you to do. Here is how you are going to mess up. You jump on a webinar like this and you go, man, that 3 Ps bit was powerful. I need to get target audience clarity. So you start there. And then immediately you go, oh yeah, that AWP thing, transforming the product into the meeting into a product. That was smart. I'm going to do that. But then as you begin to do that, you realize that people are jumping on the call and they're having all sorts of objections. And you go, well, if they've got objections, how can I deal with that? Well, you know what? If I could chunk down what it is that I could do, I could package up what it is that I could do, which would de-risk it. But the reality is I don't think that I have proper clarity about my target audience. I thought I did. So maybe I need a triage form. I need a triage form so that I can gather information about the people that I'm speaking with. If I can understand their headaches a little bit better, I can get a little bit better at value-based selling. And when I understand the value that they have, and I've chunked it down because I understand my 3 Ps, what I might be able to do is might be able to put together an elevating anticipation sequence before the meeting. So before the meeting, I can send them information to get them really excited about what it is that they do. But then you start to do it and you get on those calls and you realize that the value pricing is not the way that you thought it was going to be. So you need to add an extra triage step because the target audience is not quite right. Then you have to de-risk. And then you go to the package up piece before you realize the objections are not working out because you don't have the chunk down piece before you go to the other. I said what I don't want you to do. The process that we went through just then is typically not linear. I want to make it linear for you. I want you to focus on your offer. And then when you're feeling good about your offer, you can turn to the systems and then you can turn to your soft skills. Then you can go to your offer, your systems, and your soft skills. That's what I want for you. Bridget, Kamlesh Kumar, and Desiree each wrote LOL. Did I touch a nerve? One of the reasons that we're really successful at what it is that we do is that we abide by a training principle that we call task-otainment. And what that simply means is we don't want to overwhelm you. We want to take you through a process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, almost like paint by numbers. And an example of that a little bit earlier was the doctor on the plane test. But the doctor on the plane test usually follows a 25-minute, I think it's an 18-minute lesson, I'm not quite sure. And then you do the doctor on the plane test and it's so much easier, right? On the screen right now, you can see an example of one of our training programs, the recipe. And in a minute, I would like to give you guys and gals the recipe. And we've recently increased its price to $2,400. And I'm going to show you how you can get that training program for free. If you've ever done training or invested in training before and it didn't quite work out for you, I want you to know that that was not your fault. That was almost entirely the fault of the trainer. There's a lot of people out there that think it's just good enough to download their wisdom and then say, watch the videos and get on with it. No. Every trainer needs to do things in a way to get you to take action, because when you take action, you create the momentum creates momentum and you get outcomes. Or as LaDonna says, I walked away from each lesson with a piece of the process completed. Most training I have attended are more theoretical. I've been poking at this stuff that lacks structure. Thank you, James. The course far exceeded the value of the cost. LaDonna did the recipe, a woman in her 50s, quietly confessed that wasn't necessarily confident with technology and crushed it, because systems equal sanity. This is not our first rodeo, guys and gals. This is not our first rodeo. We've directly supported thousands, indirectly supported tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions over the last 10 years that we've been training, or the last 20 years that my partners and I have been running businesses together. So I've got a question for you. Do you guys and gals want to book more meetings with very interested prospects? And do you want to start doing it quickly? Do you need to re-engineer your offer to engage with you, to get people who want to engage with you, to meet with you, to buy from you? Do you need to embrace systems to bring back the sanity and accelerate the process? Do you need to totally level up your soft skills? Do you want to start getting outcomes quickly, right now, in the short term, while setting yourself up for success over the longer term? And do you want to have a whole lot of fun while doing it? Yay! Everything has to be fun. If it's not fun, why do it? Why do it? That's why we pulled together a program called 16 VIPs in 6 weeks. It's an accelerator. And as the name suggests, it's about booking 16 meetings with very interested prospects in 6 weeks.